Greetings, film freaks. We are the Podcorn Kernels. Join us as we discuss the hard and often indigestible truths that are at the center of the fluffy and delicious world of cinema. Season 2.
What's poppin', people? Welcome to the Podcorn Kernels podcast. My name is Adam, and joining me in the earholes is Harry. Say hello, Harry.
Ich bin meine Schlockmeister.
On today's episode, we will be talking about Common Law Wife. This is a 1963 film directed by Larry Buchanan and Eric Sawyers, and stars Annabelle Wienick, George Edgley, and Lacey Kelly. IMDb describes the synopsis as follows. Shug, a rich old man, throws out his long-time live-in mistress and moves in his young, sexy niece. However, the mistress doesn't intend to go without a fight, and while Shug tries to make peace between the two women, he doesn't realise that his niece has her own plans for him. Here is an original song to support the synopsis.
I'm just a niece wanting uncle lover. Sounds damn wrong, but I want no other. I'm a niece wanting uncle lover. Sounds damn wrong, but I want no other. I may be old and she may be pretty.
Incest, Uncle Shug.
They want my gold,
Incest.
sure sound shitty.
He's a pest.
I'm just a niece wanting uncle lover. Sounds damn wrong, but I want no other. I'm a niece wanting uncle lover. Sounds damn wrong, but I want no other.
This episode is brought to you in association with Film Masters and Something Weird. These wonderful film distributors have joined forces and kindly sent us a copy of their backwards double feature on Blu-ray for us to give the Podcorn Kernel treatment. On next week's episode, we will be talking about the second film from this double feature, titled Jenny, Wife/Child. If you like the sound of Common Law Wife, you can grab yourself a copy of this backwards double feature on DVD or Blu-ray from filmmasters.com. Stay tuned until the end of the episode to hear more about the special features included in this Hicksploitation double feature restoration. Let's start with some facts about the film. The film combines footage from an unreleased film entitled Swamp Rose, made in 1960 by Larry Buchanan, with later footage filmed by Eric Sawyers. Buchanan's footage was in colour, but the final film was released in black and white. Where does one start with this film, good sir?
I don't know. I don't know.
If nothing else, that's a cool little fact, because in my knowledge as a cinephile, I've never heard of two films being spliced up and put together.
But neither were finished.
I don't know. I wish I had the specifics. You know, there's not an awful lot of information out there on these films. I mean, if you get the Blu-ray edition, you do get a mega little booklet that explains it more in detail.
I've read that, but it doesn't really explain it in detail. Doesn't it really explain why Buchanan abandoned the project for then to have the other gentleman come in and make Common Law Wife with the remains of Swamp Lucy?
Swamp Rose.
Swamp Rose.
What I will say is Mr. Buchanan has quite the reputation about him. Mm-hmm. And the facts that I have found largely lean into Larry and what he was like as a director. But that first fact, it's just fascinating to me. I can't quite get my head around the fact that two separate films were made, not completed, and then someone had the idea, you know what would work? If we just merge the two together.
But it didn't work.
Like a movie mongrel and just try and make it a coherent film.
Thing with mongrels are, they live longer with less issues.
That's true.
Because they're not inbred. They're not Targaryen.
Listen, we all prefer looking at a pedigree, but a mongrel has got longevity. Mm-hmm. And that's something to say about this as a mongrel movie. It's lasted. Somehow someone's decided to put two really old dogs together and come up with Common Law Wife.
And the anecdote is hilarious.
And listen, Right, before we get into the meat of this episode, it is worth saying that this film is by no means highly lauded. I think it's important to highlight the fact that the perspective to try and sell this film and market this film is like you should be laughing at it. It's in a genre of film called Hicksploitation, and the fact that they've merged two films together that makes this absolute incoherent mess, which the film distributors themselves say on their website that it is incoherent. I don't know, there's something about it that has an odd little charm about the whole thing for me. I feel like you might strongly disagree.
Charm?
Yeah, there's a charm to it. Like it's trying its best to be something, bless it, and what it does end up being is an absolute mess of a film. But I can't sit here and
Well,
say,
that's it right there, then, isn't it?
yeah, I can't sit here and say I didn't enjoy just watching the shambles of what this was.
Of course, you watch it. It's funny because it's so bad.
Yeah,
Like, that's why you enjoy it. That's why you watch The Room or any of them B movies. Like, that's why you watch them, because they're shit.
yes. Yes. Director Larry Buchanan proclaimed himself to be a schlockmeister, which means a purveyor of cheap and nasty goods. Many of his extremely low-budget films have landed on worst movie lists or in the public domain.
Yeah, they have.
But all at least broke even, and many even made a profit. Most of his films were made for television. I'm not surprised.
No.
Now, in this film, for me personally, I found great joy and pleasure in trying to decipher what film was what. It tries its hardest to make a storyline that makes sense. It tries hard to drive home a narrative, but fails quite a lot. And it does seem to me, out of the two filmmakers, Sawyers and Buchanan, Sawyers seemingly is the one that knows what he's doing a bit more than Buchanan. I mean, the man has a reputation, for fuck's sake, of making nasty things. Shit and nasty goods.
It can't be two movies. There was one movie, and then they got a director in to do the rest, wasn't it?
Well, there was footage for one film called Swamp Rose.
Yeah.
And then Common Law Wife was born from another director. That's what I mean. It's so confusing. There's not a lot of information about it. But if you're someone that likes to broaden their horizons on films, it's a good thing to watch and just see, because it's so fucking bonkers. It's madness.
I'd underscore that with, if you're into B movies.
Yes, of course.
If you love cinema, there's no way I'm suggesting one half of the Podcorn Kernels is not suggesting you go watch this.
I'm saying if you're a proper cinematic connoisseur, then you're right. If you only really want to spend your time watching amazing, well thought out, deep rooted, well established cinema, avoid this like the plague. But if you're a cinephile that likes just learning about different facets of filmmaking and cinema and how shit films can be, especially if you try and blend two together, then you should definitely give this one a go.
Easy Rider was an exploitation film. So, and look how far that climbed in terms of like respect, in terms of the cinematic critiquing community. So, you know, this comes from a world of exploitation, and it is B movie. It is nothing else. And he's right to coin himself the schlockmeister. Yeah. But there is a world for that. It is enjoyable. They're conscious of what they're doing, I think.
Yes. I think
but
so.
I've seen better B movies that are consistent.
Have you
that are terribly acted? They're terribly paced. The script is awful, but they're coherent.
Yes, I think that is the hardest mountain to climb when watching Common Law Wife. Is the fact that lots of it doesn't make sense, and you can really tell that it's two different footages blended together. The color in the black and white. You can tell when it's the two separate films. I mean, there's two different actresses playing the same woman. There's voiceovers put in, and it's obviously not suited. But I think you're right. I think it does totally lean into that. If this was a film packaged and they were trying to promote it and sell it as this is an incredible film about Hicksploitation and all of these things, I think they would fall flat on their face, because that is not what this is.
I think Hicksploitation would have put bums on seat, because it would have made people think they were going to get some nudity or some nipple or some sex things with brothers and cousins and sisters.
Yeah.
The taboo got them going hard.
Yeah, there is some definite incestual vibes going on here, and that, you know, Hicksploitation scandal sells, so I can imagine way back in 1961 this getting people interested, because it is scandalous. It is all of these subjects that I don't know if many films were doing similar things back then. But you say you've seen a lot of B movies. Have you seen one that's as old as this? Have you seen one that's sort of made in the 60s or earlier? Because I personally haven't.
I don't think so. Most of the B movies I saw were 70s upwards.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Same. So maybe, I mean, trying to give this film some credit, maybe it was the founding father of the B movie. Maybe Buchanan was onto something before everyone else. I don't know.
There were some from the 30s and 40s, but because they were all it meant was that you didn't have the backing or production of Hollywood. So you were independent, but it was mainly going to be sold to drive-through cinemas.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? So yeah, it's fascinating history.
Yes, definitely.
I bet old Tarantino's watched many exploitation films.
See, when I first watched this film and was coming up with questions for this episode, that was going to be one of my original questions. Do you think Tarantino has seen this? But I think the man is so well versed in all facets of cinema that he would have had to have seen at least something like this, at least something in the Hicksploitation genre of cinema. He must have.
The Thing from Venus.
Yeah.
Curse of the Swamp.
Are these all Hicksploitation films?
Mars Needs Women. No, they're not. They're all Buchanan's.
Oh, what a dog.
In the year 2889. The Eye Creatures.
Wow.
I
mean...
See, they sound more like not Hicksploitation, just exploitation, B movies.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, very Garth Marenghi. Just pinpoint doing it. They've probably, the guys behind Garth Marenghi's Dark Place definitely watched this.
Yeah, have to. After Larry Buchanan's death, a long obituary in the New York Times summarised his work as follows. One quality united Mr. Buchanan's diverse output. It was not so much that his films were bad. They were deeply, dazzlingly, unrepentantly bad. His work called to mind a famous line from H.L. Mencken, who, describing President Warren G. Harding's prose, said, "It is so bad that a sort of grandeur creeps into it."
Harding was the guy running in Boardwalk Empire, wasn't he?
Knowledge?
Yeah.
No, I didn't clock that. But I'm here for that. I mean, it's a little cold to be like including that in an obituary. This man was shit at what he does.
He knows he was. He's self-claimed
Schlockmeister.
Schlockmeister.
Yeah, I think the fact that he's in on the joke, I don't know, maybe that adds another layer to it. But I love that it is so bad that a sort of grandeur creeps into it, because it kind of does. Yeah. It reeks of so bad it's good. It feels like it wasn't made to try and be good, and then you can sort of kind of accept it more. This isn't RRR or The Room that was made with the best intentions, or at least it doesn't feel like it.
Even The Blowout. Blowout, sorry.
Yeah, it certainly feels like two partial films were made, and then this madness cocktail was put together, and what come out is a common law wife, which doesn't look great and it doesn't taste great either, but I'm kind of glad I consumed it in a very strange way.
It's all very confusing. I think that's why it's hard to get any traction with what I'm trying to say about it.
Yeah,
because the whole project's confused. It's
a shambles.
Yeah,
it is an absolute shambles, but it's almost unapologetic in that. But doing a podcast review about a film like this is fucking near on impossible, because if we don't understand what it is that's happening, how are we supposed to critique it? But we'll give it a bloody good go, right?
The film is bipolar in its badness.
Yeah.
100%.
But I couldn't look away.
They didn't ask you to.
No. What did you like about Common Law Wife?
I liked how I felt like I was watching Jack Horner directing Dirk Diggler and Reed Rothschild in one of the many on-set pornos of the movie Boogie Nights.
I mean, that's fantastic.
It was that standard of acting and editing.
It reeks of poor porn, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
And I was kind of hopeful, even though I was not but 3 seats astride from you, good sir, that some porno was about to start.
I mean, I've seen more cohesive porn. I've seen porn that's got storylines that are easier to follow.
More diverse porn as well.
Yes. I think it would have been a different experience for both you and I if it did turn into porn. What do we do there?
We're just professionals. We sit and we critique it.
And we give each other a helping hand.
No, we can't.
Okay.
No one-hand skiing.
No.
Not in that living room, thank you.
Okay. Did you like anything else about the film?
I enjoyed watching it with you.
Yeah.
Because it became an event rather than a challenge. It's fair to say, like, stoners would be in their element with this film.
Oh, mate. early 20s Adam John if I watched this with a spliff.
Creasing.
Oh, I'd probably press play as soon as it finished again. I'd be back on that bandwagon once again.
Imagine you didn't know all of the weird happenings in terms of the splicing of two movies together, and while you're stoned, you see the woman, you go, it's not the same woman. And you start getting paranoid.
Oh my God.
That you're seeing things.
Yeah, it starts with a mild concern that casting's trying to trick me, and it ends with an ambulance being called because I think I'm having a fucking heart attack.
You blink and all of a sudden it's in the swamp with the big guy and she's at a distillery for moonshine. You're like, how much time has passed?
Yeah.
And you just panic attack.
And the whole black and white palette is like a completely different colour. Everything about it's changed. I'd probably have some sort of fit or something. Yeah, I'm a very nervous boy, and if I didn't know what I was going into with this, if someone just clicked play on this, I think I'd have some sort of aneurysm. I think I'd be like, wait, what is that? Am I going mad? Like, does everyone know that this is happening? The fact that it sort of holds your hand and goes, it's okay, it's meant to be like this, I found like greatly reassuring. I
tell you what I did like. I liked the thought that I was watching films of at least the same guys that potentially Paul Thomas Anderson and Tarantino watched for when they were recreating stuff within their own films. So when you do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you got Bounty Law.
Yeah.
That, and when you watch Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights work with like the way they enter the scene and you can see the sound guys boom and you can hear someone breathing. Like, I liked how they've studied bad B movies to insert them within their film.
Yeah.
A film within a film within a film. I found that fascinating. I felt like I was watching, patient zero of B movies.
Yeah, I think that's the highest accolade you can give this film, I reckon, in that sentence you just gave there. Yeah, I think that's what the film has going for it, because if you like your B movies, if you like your films to be bonkers, if you like your stories to not make any fucking sense, then you should definitely check out this backwards double feature.
Oh, yeah. Last Light. I feel like I've witnessed substantial B movie history here by splicing together Swamp Rose and Common Law Wife. I feel these two movies entwined together will be spoken about for millennia in the halls of exploitation, low-budget cinema, and completely nonsensical use of filmmaking.
Yeah, and we're part of it now. We're part of that.
I'll never forget it.
No, I mean, there's a massive pro. I'll never forget it, for better or worse. Common Law Wife isn't ever going to, leave my brain.
Bounty Law. That's all I want to keep saying.
Yeah. But it is that. I mean, as, seasoned film fans, I take great joy in watching films from years gone by and different genres and all of these things. As someone who enjoys doing that, I'm quite an open book at watching different films. So I'm certainly glad that I watched this. And like you say, it's not leaving my brain space anytime soon.
Mm-mm.
No. Mm-mm. You done with your likes yet?
Yeah.
I'll go on to mine, and I never thought I'd say this as a like, but a disclaimer at the start. To the best of my knowledge, I have never seen a film that is a result of two different movies being spliced together. I love it when I watch something that is different to everything else I have seen as a seasoned cinephile, and that small paragraph ponder opening allowed me to manage my expectations. This film is balls to the wall bonkers, and the text at the start was helpful in allowing me to understand exactly what I was in for. I didn't know what to expect when I threw Common Law Wife on, and this helpful hand-holding at the start really enhanced my viewing experience. If I didn't have that at the start, if you get the Blu-ray or DVD, it starts, you see the Film Masters logo, thanks to lovely people at Film Masters for sending it over, and you get a few words of text, a paragraph saying what it is you're in store for. Now, I read that, and I had to pause it because I wanted to read it a few more times. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen a film where at the start it basically says in no uncertain terms, this is going to be shit. And for me, seeing how unusual that was.
Are you sure you read it right?
I've read it 3-4 times.
Okay.
I'm putting it, it doesn't say that exactly. It explains the process, the getting another director on board to make some sort of film. I mean, on the Film Masters website, they even say this is an incoherent film as a result of two different actresses playing the same character.
Do you not find that strange that they decided to just continue with it? Like, if I'd look at it and I'd be like, this is dead. It's dead in the water.
Yeah, but I think it takes, number one, I think it takes huge balls to be like, let's just make it happen. Let's just make it happen. And another part is like, it's probably really astute decision making, because there are people out there that would want to watch stuff like this. There are people out there that take great value in watching B movies, in watching your Sharknadoes, in watching The Room, in all of these sorts of things. So there's an audience for that. And, you know, like you say, a large percentage of that audience may well be stoners that just want to put something on and crease up at just something ridiculous.
Sharknado I can understand, though, because it's so ridiculous, so over the top. This is so low key.
Yeah.
This is so low key.
But I think for me, that kind of makes it funny.
What, low key B movie?
Yeah, because it's, well, what...
Get out of my house. I don't want to leave your house. Well, you got you, and we're not married. Oh, go talk lawyer. Oh, you got the rights. You lived there 5 years. You common law wife. Bounty lot.
Yeah. And then
Film done.
And then film goes off for a...
Swamp Rose.
Yeah, for a bit of time and then comes back.
So Swamp Rose is a whore.
I don't
Stripper.
know.
She's a stripper from New Orleans.
Yes. Yeah. Janelle.
She gets asked by her uncle to come back home.
To look after her.
To look, quotation finger.
Yeah.
To look after her. But she mentions that he was her first ever. So she was technically raped and abused by the man, but we throw that under the carpet. That's done. That's
That's
matter.
breezed over like it's not even a thing.
That's all over.
Yeah.
And she comes back to either to take his fortunes and kill him, or both, or one or the other.
Yeah.
And somehow we get back to the main woman's story about how she has rights as a common law wife.
Yeah. I mean, I'd argue that they should probably not have called it common law wife, because that sort of thread of the storyline
is the deadest.
It's only at the start and
at the very end.
Yeah. I mean, I think they should have gone with Swamp Rose.
Swamp Rose would have been better, because then the focus on her, and she is the protagonist and antagonist in this.
Yeah, or could have called it niece wanting uncle lover. We could have quite easily done that.
That would have put more bums on seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they say that this was used as educational as well? So when they looked at how best ways to market it, to try and, like, they said, oh, you might be a victim of common law wife, something as well.
I think in the original marketing, I believe, in the early 60s, where people would, you know, check into a hotel and it was very...
To get wetty.
Yeah, to get wetty without regretty. They would go and just sort of act like they're married, so they're not judged. So they can go and have a sordid affair. So they can go and explore their sexual fantasies in motels or hotels and just sign in as a married couple. So people aren't like, oh, what, you aren't married and you're doing what? No, that's not
common
allowed.
law.
That's common law wife, motherfuckers. Yeah. Another thing I liked about it, oh, hi, Hicksploitation. I had never heard of this term until the wonderful people at Filmmasters sent us over this backwards double feature. And I must say, I was really surprised with the result. I was expecting some really dodgy redneck stereotypes a la Cletus and co from The Simpsons.
Beverly Hillbillies.
Or those dodgy dudes from Deliverance. But what I got instead was some surprisingly well-spoken, well-dressed individuals that had their own odd in capital letters sort of charm about them. Sure, there is a dirty old man that wants to do dirty old things with his young and attractive niece.
Oh.
And yes, every single chap was steered by his cock in a bid to bed a very over-sexualised bombshell named Baby Doll. Yet, I found myself fascinated by a really niche nugget of cinema that was incoherent but strangely educational and entertaining. As wanky as it sounds, I consider myself a student of cinema. Despite how objectively bad this one was, I loved studying it. And it's that for me. It was bad. It was really bad. If I sat there and I was in a snooty mood and I was like, I'm going to review this film, like subjectively, but in the guise of objectiveness, going, the filmmaking was poor, the delivery was poor, like it's two films, it's a shambles, all of these things, it would be a 0. Like you said, it would be awful. But the fact that I was able to take the fact that it's Hicksploitation, it's B-movie, it's incoherent mess, all of these wonderfully weird things, I kind of vibed with it. I did kind of vibe with it. And as I get older, I used to be a real film snob, to the point where I wouldn't even watch Marvel films or action films from the 80s and stuff like that. As I've got older, I've learned to take value in things that aren't objectively good.
Yeah, but it's hard because you've got to find the correct categories for scoring films. So this could be like a League 2 in football.
Yeah.
So you got your Premier League films, and they're the ones that you critique, you know, and your 10s mean a lot more. But like, if you're critiquing something that's like League 2, or actually say sport, let's say the title sport, right? That encompasses rugby, football, tennis, every sport on earth. You've got, let's say, just not to piss people off, but let's say sport, let's say, the greatest of films lives in football
Yeah.
because of the World Cup, the Champions League
Sure, yeah,
final,
yeah.
and it's the most watched sport in the world.
Yes.
B movies are like a different sport.
Yeah,
A totally different sport.
they're like, I don't even know.
Snooker
curling.
or something. Or
Yeah,
well off from football. They're very different.
yeah.
So it's hard.
It is hard.
Got to categorise that score.
Yeah, I mean, you categorise how you wish, sir. I mean, I'll give it an overall score for the sake of the format, and I'm a sucker for format and structure, as everyone knows. You can go with what you can give it a score as you would score it for every other film, and a score for B movies, or you can just be a cold hard dog and give it a 0. Whatever you feel, I'm happy with. I don't mind. Final thing I liked about the film was alternative history of Hollywood. As I just said, as I get older and the more podcast episodes I do, I learn more and more about vintage cinema. I've evolved to really appreciate and admire films from the golden age of film, and have really enjoyed diving into a treasure trove of greatest hits. Common Law Wife gave me a peek into the past of peculiar pictures that I never knew existed, and I loved taking a look at a film that seems really risky and out there, even now. This film definitely sits proud in my so bad it's good category of films, and I found myself genuinely and pleasantly surprised at the bold choices Common Law Wife makes. And I would even go as far as saying that I thought the ending was a welcome surprise. I didn't think it would end like it did. And again, I want to go on record as saying it is not a good film, but I had a good time with it.
Oh, it's the same thing you said for
It is, and that's just how I measure films. You measure it differently, and that's why this is, I feel, a good podcast.
Accurately.
Okay, yeah, it's subjective. Every
difference between this and ours, this is a B movie.
Exactly. And, I think what we spoke about, if you haven't heard our RRR episode, please go and check it out. But this one, I think I've watched it as it's meant to be watched. I think I watched it anti how it's meant to be watched, and was able to take something from it as a result. What didn't you like about Common Law Wife?
It's incoherent.
Yeah.
So I was throwing questions at the screen throughout our entire runtime and watching of it, and you just shouted at me, "It's 2 films, man!
Yeah.
It's 2 films!"
Yeah.
And he sits there and then wants me to offer some sort of critique.
What are you going to do? You could do your best. You could do your best. That's all you can ask for.
It wasn't even an interesting storyline.
I mean, I said it's bold, and to me, it is still bold that the film centres on an uncle wanting to bang his niece. Is quite like, whoa, like especially for a 1961 film.
Even though that's shocking, and even more shocking that we know he abused her when she was younger. But that all gets lost in the incoherentness. Is that a word, incoherentness? That sort of just disappears. I mean, this film depressed me quite a bit because I thought of what it must have been like to be a B movie actor, director, producer, sound guy. Like almost all of them would have turned to porn eventually. Not the oldies in this one, though.
Yeah.
Probably not the oldies. But it depressed me enough to turn on a 1-hour documentary of Louis Theroux about autism, extreme autism.
I don't think that would help anyone's depression, but it was certainly interesting to watch it after. It was a fascinating made-up double feature to watch a autism documentary after this.
It grounded me.
But I don't know. I often think about like Tommy Wiseau, who directed and made The Room, and I often think about B movie stars, and I think, they must be really unfulfilled. But then on the other hand, I'm like, at least they're doing something creative.
No, most of them die, Dad.
Yeah,
at the end of a needle.
But well, that is sad, obviously. But I mean, at least they're doing something creative. At least they're giving it a bloody good go. And to think that this film was made as a Hicksploitation film in the 60s, and now you've got 2 mid-30-year-olds in Surrey talking about it, there's kind of a majesty to that. It's kind of mad that that's even happened.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And, we're talking about these people in this film 50, 60 years after it's been made.
We're keeping them alive.
Exactly. And I mean that most of us don't get that. So
I hope our scathing critique / huge compliments from you will make people want to go and buy the Blu-ray and watch it.
yes.
Because it would be hilarious for more people to get eyes on it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it feels to me like you're either going to take absolutely nothing from it and not look past its glaringly obvious shortcomings, or you're going to look at it and go, this is mad, and I kind of enjoy how mad this is. Like, this is a mess. Like, I watched it on my own, and then I said to you, can I come and watch it with you, please? And I a great time just watching it with you because I knew what it was. And I feel like it's a better experience as a shared experience.
You knew what it wasn't.
Yeah, I definitely knew what it wasn't. Yeah. And, you know, I do tend to agree with you. It's a very hard thing to do an episode on. And the second film in this double feature, this backwards double feature called Jenny, Wife / Child, I think will be a lot easier to do an episode on because it is coherent. It's nothing like this film. So, you know, there's that to look forward to, I guess.
Second dislike?
Yeah.
If there was a grading system for pace, it would be called the three-toed sloth with a head injury and zero gravity.
Yep.
Third, why? Show me the original script. I want to see it because why?
Yeah.
Do you think there was a script for this?
At one point.
Or do you think someone by-road some lines on a bit of paper, handed it to the actors 3 minutes before they press shoot?
I don't know.
It's got to be a script.
There has to have been a script somewhere that's been lost in the ether. I don't know. That's what I mean. I wish there was more readily available information about this film out there. But that's the problem with it being so niche.
It's B-movie.
Well, yeah, nobody's got anything to say. No, there's not a lot on this.
There's like nothing.
As I say, in the booklet that comes with the Blu-ray, it's more of a exploration of Hicksploitation rather than actual factual information about what's happened with the film. So there's not an awful lot out there, which is a shame, really, because I think if we could wrap our head around it more, it would be easier to sort of understand.
Yeah, they wouldn't have had a release low where anyone would have seen it. It would have been old movie theatres and stuff, and dirty old men going into hoping that there'd be a booby shot. And there is one nipple shot in this.
Yeah.
One nipple.
If that's what you're looking for in your B movies, is some boob, then you've got a little bit in here.
Oh, no nipple.
Yes. Is that you done with your dislikes? Yeah. I'll go on to mine. It is objectively bad. Common Law Wife is a very short film with lots of shortcomings. There is acting in this that is some of the worst I have ever seen. The dialogue and delivery is nothing short of a shambles. The story is centred on an old man wanting to bang his own blood. It is two completely different films merged together. Despite all of this, though, there is definitely a very odd appeal that kept me engaged. If you're a lover of cinema, you should definitely watch a film like this one to broaden your horizons and better understand such a uniquely mad facet of cinema. Now, that is really the only saving grace, is that it is something completely different, is that it's like, I can't believe that there's a film out there like this. I can't believe that in the 60s people were sitting down and watching either these two separate films or a version of one of these films that are kind of merged together. It's a madness to me.
Wouldn't The Blob be an exploitation film?
I'd assume so, yeah. I mean, it's
because I watched loads of films like that when I was younger.
Yeah,
1958.
Or would it be just horror? I'm not sure. It might have been out and out horror. I wouldn't like to say for certain, but it definitely feels like it blurs the lines between the two for sure. B-movie horror, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't know about you, but we'll watch at least one more Hicksploitation film because that's our next episode. But would you want to watch any more Hicksploitation films to see how they compare? Like some of those other titled Larry Buchanan projects sound like madness.
They won't all be Hicksploitation, though.
Okay.
They would be like
just B-movie,
poor sci-fi films and stuff, wouldn't they? Yeah. So I don't know. Did you mention once that Deliverance was that?
I think that might be.
I suppose it is, but not to this degree of like potentially sleeping with brother and sister. It's more a horror.
Yeah.
A horror film, isn't it?
Yeah. A horror hick film, I guess.
I saw the Beverly Hillbillies. Is that Hicksploitation?
I'm not sure. When you add exploitation into a film, I'm always a little unsure.
So blaxploitation is Shaft.
Yeah.
That's easy enough, I suppose. But Hicksploitation is a bit harder.
Yeah,
it's almost like it's okay to bang your cousin. That's the sort of thing.
I get it's the same sort of vibe as watching Jeremy Kyle. I suppose Jeremy Kyle's a sort of, what was it, a chat show, I guess, over here where people that would be the equivalent to Hicks, I guess, chavs over here would have really like issues of my brother slept with my girlfriend and now I'm his cat and all of that sort of shit. Jerry Springer equivalent, I guess. Yeah. So I guess it's that same sort of thing.
The ilk of Jerry Springer.
Yeah, you're watching these things to like a gladiatorial arena. You're watching them to judge and almost laugh at these people that find themselves in peculiar situations, I suppose. Another dislike, Slick Hicks. As mentioned in my likes, this Hicksploitation picture featured seemingly well put together individuals with some not so well put together morals. I kind of wanted me some larger than life stereotypes, and whilst I was pleasantly surprised with some aspects of the film, I really wanted common law wife to lean into some really over the top Hicks. Saying all this though, maybe this is what Hicks looked and acted like in 1960s America. I have no idea. But for me, it was that. I think of, like I said earlier, Cletus from The Simpsons. I think of the fellas from Deliverance doing the dodgy dealings. They were well-spoken, well-dressed, sort of fancier affair than what I was expecting. And I kind of wanted it to be really over the top, like, whoa.
They climbed out of the swamp.
Yes, exactly that. That's kind of what I was expecting. And the fact that I didn't get that kind of left me a little disappointed.
What about the Hicks in Southern Comfort? They're terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're Creole, aren't they? So they speak French.
Yeah, they
It's
are
creepy.
They are gritty dudes.
Adam didn't like that film.
It
It is budget. It's budget, but I liked me some Powers Booth and Carradine.
Like you said with this one, I enjoyed watching it with you as an experience.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch as an experience. But then I think I've grown as a film person since even then, because we've watched so many different types of films for this podcast. I think that was early days of podcast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We hadn't even gone live when we watched that, dog.
No.
I'd do an episode on that though after this.
I'd watch that over this.
Yeah. It's
No
probably,
offence.
It's probably a 10 compared to this, isn't it?
In what category, Load? In what sports category?
Mouse cricket.
It's getting too hard.
Yeah. The final dislike, Godzilla glass. Dirty old Shugfoot had possibly the biggest glass I have ever seen, and I don't like that I don't have the glass nor the space to accommodate such a gargantuan glass.
Was it subtext to his affluence?
Could be. It was basically a vase. It's the biggest glass I've ever fucking seen.
He had to double hand it to drink it.
Yeah.
Drink from it.
Yeah. If I filled that dog up with Guinness, I would probably be rat-arsed by the time I finished it. It was just a big old beautiful glass.
Yeah, you would.
And I dislike that I didn't have such a glass to show off. It's a show-off glass, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's look at how well I'm doing my glass. I've got some questions.
Yeah.
What two films from two different directors would you like to see in a limited edition double feature?
Oh, it's got to be something from Harry's LA accidental franchise.
Oh,
I'm going to go Drive and Nightcrawler.
Oh, that's delicious.
Nicholas Winding Refn and Dan Gilroy.
Yeah. I mean, nothing more needs to be said. They're two amazing films.
Yeah.
And-
I could have done any of them though.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, do you want to explain what that is?
It's basically a DVD Blu-ray franchise box set. I think should be created based on all of the great crime thrillers that are based in LA.
Yeah.
So you've got your Heat, LA Confidential, Drive, Nightcrawler. There's many out there, and they all fit this sort of theme of like neon lights and loneliness, but also a really stout, hardcore lead man. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Collateral. Oof. Collateral. It's one of Tom Cruise's greatest characters ever.
I can see the lovely, rigid Blu-ray limited edition case with some neon colours in there.
LA skyline.
Yeah.
Once they're all together in a box, you've got the skyline of LA.
Ooh.
But like To Live and Die in LA is another one, obviously. With that, that ruby red sun setting with the palm trees.
Oh, you're really doing
That's what I want to make. I want to make that box set.
Pattern it so no one can have it. Pattern it.
What's the point?
Okay, that's a damn shame. The two I would do for a limited edition double feature, Whiplash and Uncut Gems. And I'd call it the Cardiac Arrest collab.
Nice.
Because those films, mate, if you've got anxiety.
Yeah. Do you know what I'd have for the graphic on the box set? Like a BPM?
Yeah.
Beats per minute?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it ties into anxiety and a drum beat.
And it comes with a little like Fitbit type watch, other exercise watches available.
Oh, everyone be buying.
So just to put it on wrist, just a cheap old one, just to sort of regulate your heart while those two are playing. Just imagine watching them back to back. Jeez, that would move me. That would rock me.
I'm going to die of heart disease.
That would also, probably me too, or belly problems. Who would you cast as Baby Doll and Shug in a modern day remake of Common Law Wife?
Oh, Jennifer Lawrence for Baby Doll.
I mean, that's who I've got.
Oh, really? Because she recently played a bit of a hooer in a role where she's
a temptress.
Yeah, taking a lad's virgin.
Yeah, no hard feelings.
And the way she has her eyebrows and eyeliner sometimes reminded me of Baby Doll.
I went Jennifer Lawrence too, yeah.
Do you know who I'm gonna have for Shug? Only because of his reaction to Ricky Gervais's joke about the two popes. I'm gonna have Jonathan Pryce
That's amazing.
to piss him off.
Yeah, he'd hate that, and I'd love to see him hate that. I've gone Jennifer Lawrence and Bruce Dern.
Oh, Bruce Dern rocks.
Yeah, he does.
Good
Yeah,
old
he
Bruce.
does. I think he's still got a project or two left in him, so if he's interested in a common law wife remake, we should hook him up.
Jesus.
But I highly doubt it.
Jesus.
Did watching Common Law Wife make you excited to watch the other film from the backwards double feature, Jenny, Wife/Child?
No.
Okay. That might be a good thing,
Yeah.
because if your expectations are low, you might be pleasantly surprised.
I love being given the opportunity to watch the films and review them, and it's amazing that we have the chance to do that. But it is hard. It's hard to invest your attention to something. Obviously, that it's self-proclaimed B movie.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
because obviously you could be watching something else.
I mean, there is that. And another huge positive for this film is it's a gentleman's 1 hour, 13 minutes.
13.
Yeah.
1-3 people.
Yeah.
1 hour, 1-3 minute.
Yeah. So, and like you said, we're very grateful to be sent any
Oh,
film
yeah.
to review. It's a huge honour for us, and the people at Film Masters are very lovely people. I've spoken with some of them. They sent us this over for us to give the Podcorn Kernel treatment, and it is a legitimate honour. But we're not going to lie to ourselves or the audience by going, this is a 10 out of 10 amazing film. You should go and buy it, because it's like, I can guarantee I don't think you'll have seen anything like it.
Oh, it's a unique Blu-ray case to have. It'll be one of them ones that in 50, 60 years, it's so rare that you'd make a fortune trying to sell it back.
It's beautiful looking. It's full of insights. It's great to learn about Hicksploitation, especially if you're two Surrey boys. Like, that's like a different planet to us.
Its greatest value could be in training or teaching up-and-coming film directors, producers on
What not to do.
What not to do, but also exploitation within your movie, like we were talking about PTA and Tarantino doing. It would be great for that. It teaches you what not to do if you want to recreate it in a film to make it realistic within your film.
Yeah.
So it's great for that.
Yeah. There's a lot of value in this film. I think we've done.
You sounded like, okay.
Okay.
There's a lot of value in this film.
Yeah, I think we've done our due diligence and highlighted the highs and leveled out the lows, and I think we've done what we should have done here.
Are we doing impersonations?
If you want to.
No, that's all right.
Okay. I'm always here for your impersonations. You know this.
Peter, that is my marriage.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Okay.
Nailed it. What would you rate Common Law Wife out of 10, please?
It's either 4 out of 5 pickles,
Okay.
7B, which means 7 as B movies go, because I have seen better B movies.
Okay.
I have seen better B movies.
Okay.
Or it's based on the Podcorn Kernels backlog,
Yeah.
0.
Okay.
Or, it's tough, man.
It is tough.
7, because whatever you give it, yours is just a number. So you're going to have to say it is, let's say 7B, because I've seen 10B.
Yeah.
I've seen 10 out of 10 B movies.
No, I think what is good here is your Podcorn Kernel official score is a 0, and that's absolutely fine. But then what you're saying is, if I'm rating it as B movies, it's a 7.
Yes.
If I'm giving pickles, I'm giving them, what did you say, 4 out of 5 pickles?
4 out of 5 pickles.
So it's high on the pickle score.
Yeah.
It's high on the B movie score.
People love and hate pickles. I love them.
Yes.
The more pickles I get, the happier I am.
Yes.
But in terms of films, pickles isn't even good.
Yeah.
Pickles is the third category of rating it.
I am going to tell you something. We're sitting here and we're going through your ratings. I have a Fitbit, like we spoke about, that would come with in my cardiac arrest collaboration. It spiked when I was like, how is he going to do this score? Because I need a number for my own mental health.
Go with
that
my...
is a specific... And no, you've done it. You've given me your 0.
Put a B on it.
No, I would
You
not.
can't... Yeah.
You've given in the B.
Just because I
ranking.
enjoyed watching it with you doesn't mean I can give it a score. Like a 1 or a 2.
Exactly. So
'Cause I enjoyed watching it with you.
You have covered yourself. You score it how you score it. We're two separate people. We're two separate kernels. You've given it a 7 for B rating, which is bloody good for a B movie. You've given it 4 out of 5 pickles, which is amazing for pickles. And you've given it as 0 based on how you would rate it for the 60 plus episodes we've done before this.
Also, I think the 0 will help the sales for the Blu-ray.
Yes.
I do think people would buy it more if
Yeah.
you zeroed that dog. Because there's no bigger compliment to bad movies or B movies than giving it a 0.
Yeah. I mean, you did it.
Okay.
I've gone...
First time ever.
You've done it. The first time ever that a pickle rating's been brought into the equation. And
It didn't get used though, did it?
It is. No, it is. Your score is 0 for the format of the episode, but it's a caveat that it's 4 out of 5 pickles and 7 out of 10
Yeah.
B.
B.
So that's great.
7B.
I've gone 5. Just pure boy down the middle.
Why couldn't you just go and do a 7B as well and we do 14B?
Because I would have problems with that. I'd probably have some sort of cardiac issue if I didn't follow
5.
format.
I don't know, man.
5.
I lose respect for you daily, but that's pushing it.
As it's daily, I'm quite used to being made to feel like a piece of shit, so I'm quite happy with that.
5.
That's fine by me. 5 because it's awful, but because I had a great time. And in my simple head, like that's down the barrel 5 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
So I greatly admire your flexibility and always have of being able to give it a pickle rating and a B rating and giving them high pickles and high Bs. But me being who I am, I can't help but only give it a normal score. So that's why I've gone 5. That gives Common Law Wife a total score of 5 out of 20. If you like your Hicksploitation films to be incestual, incoherent, and incisively bad in an oddly good sort of way, or if you have ever wanted to see an uncle be unreasonably unacceptable towards his undeniably unugly niece in a narrative that is as nasty as it is nonsensical, then Common Law Wife could be a film for you. Common Law Wife is available to buy as part of the Backwards double feature co-released by Film Masters and Something Weird. This collaboration includes the controversial 1968 film Jenny, Wife/Child, which we will be covering in next week's episode. This newly restored collector's edition is available to buy on either DVD or Blu-ray from filmmasters.com. Packed with special features, eye-opening insights, and a comprehensive handbook that further explores the 2 films included, as well as Hicksploitation cinema in general, this backwards double feature also gives you access to a selection of archival commentaries from directors, writers and programmers, insightful essays by Lisa Petrucci of Something Weird, and a documentary titled The Origin of Southern Cinema, which offers essential viewing to anyone looking to learn more about this niche category of cinema. Consider watching this one if you enjoyed Lolita, American Beauty, and Hard Candy.
What?
Should we play a game?
Give it a name, give it a name, give it a name now. We birth a plot and then make a trailer. What the plot? Action!
A billionaire sociopath hires an equally morally unconscious hitman to kill people who bother him in his everyday life.
Oh, yeah.
The billionaire pays well and uses the hired killer as his PAA, personal assistant assassin. The usually stone-cold, hard pro-assassin starts to grow a conscience as the killing work starts to become far more regular and random, and he becomes increasingly irritated at his employer's desires to kill completely innocent people. The film centres on an assassin navigating doing the right thing against doing easy, exceptionally paid work.
Why are they killing innocent people?
He's hired by this billionaire who's a sociopath, hires this hitman who doesn't care who he kills normally. But the billionaire gets so irritated by people in his everyday that he's so rich that he's just paying someone to kill off.
Because someone ate loudly.
Someone ate loudly. Someone cut him up in the queue. Someone didn't say thank you for holding the door open for him.
Can I make the billionaire a lady?
You can do whatever you wish, good sir.
So it's funny.
I could see you could take it as you wish.
I'd say it's funny.
When I came up with the idea, I personally saw it as like an action comedy, but with like morals and stuff. But you could take it dramatic if you wanted to.
Okay. I might go with something recently watching. Well, not recently, a year ago, when I watched. Totally forgot what it's called.
Who's in it? Do you know?
No, I'm gonna get it.
He's gonna get there.
White Lotus.
Jennifer Coolidge.
No, I know the actor. I
Oh.
was thinking of the fucking series.
Oh, because I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, it was White Lotus, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, White Lotus. Or was it The Lotus?
White Lotus.
White Lotus. Jennifer Coolidge as the billionaire because of how ridiculous she was in that series.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, she survived an armed assault from homosexuals, managed to get through that by closing her eyes and shooting her way through a ship just to bang her head on a boat and die and drowned.
Brilliant.
So definitely Coolidge from White Lotus as the billionaire. I think that'd be hilarious. I think she needs some guy who's got some acting chops, but is also some bit of eye candy. And I'd have Channing Tatum as the assassin.
Yeah, I like that.
And directing, I'd have Patrick Hughes from Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, which I found to be quite a funny film. And I was tossed up between titles, actually. I was going to go Can't Buy Me Love or Cash in the Crosshairs.
Ooh. Both are strong.
Can't Buy Me Love. Yeah. Okay, so Patrick Hughes directing, starring Jennifer Coolidge and Channing Tatum, and I called the film Can't Buy Me Love.
How far would you go for money?
I want you to kill that bitch. You hear me?
Why?
Did you not hear that swamp monster gulp her fat coffee? She has to go.
It's a little much, isn't it? Can I just clip her wings?
Who's the boss? I tell you who to kill, and you do it.
This summer, things are about to get cold. Starring Jennifer Coolidge and Channing Tatum. Directed by Patrick Hughes. Can't Buy Me Love. Coming soon.